You know someone like this? He's the guy with brilliant ideas that light up a room, grand dreams that seem to touch the stars, and a sparkle in his eyes that hints at someone destined for something extraordinary. He talks passionately about incredible projects, world-changing inventions, novels that could redefine literature, or businesses that would disrupt entire industries. He lives on possibilities, thriving in the realm of what could be. But somehow, nothing ever comes to fruition. Every plan fizzles out. Every dream remains just that, a dream. And for every failure, he has a ready excuse. It wasn't the right time. The right people didn't show up. The world hasn't understood my vision yet. Maybe this man is a childhood friend, the one you grew up swapping big ideas with. Maybe he's a younger brother, always chasing the next big thing. Maybe he's your boyfriend, full of charm but absent when it matters most. Or maybe, just maybe, he's your father, a man who, despite his age, seems frozen in time, an adult who still behaves like a boy. Emotionally unstable, allergic to commitments, he's always chasing freedom while running from any real responsibility. And yet, despite the frustration, despite the broken promises and abandoned plans, part of you still holds out hope. You think, maybe one day he'll change. Maybe one day he'll live up to his potential. But deep down, you know the truth. This pattern isn't just a quirk. It's a profound psychological archetype, one that Carl Jung called the pure etterness, the eternal boy. This is the archetype of the man who refuses to grow up, who lives perpetually in a state of transition, as if he's always preparing to live, but never actually starting. His youthful energy, creativity, and spontaneity are magnetic, drawing people in like moths to a flame. But behind this charm lies a shadow, a crippling inability to face the demands of the real world. The pure expects life to bend to his desires, for others to solve the problems he refuses to confront. He idealizes the perfect woman, the perfect job, the perfect life, and when reality fails to match his fantasies, he doesn't adapt, he flees. He breaks away, gives up, and slips back into the cycle of unfulfilled dreams. He sees himself as too special, too unique to submit to the mundane routines of life, when in reality, he's paralyzed by a deeper fear, the fear of failure, of frustration, of growing up. If you've ever tried to help someone like this, you know how exhausting it can be. You pour your heart into offering advice, only to watch it go unheard. You provide support, encouragement, even resources, only to see them squandered. You try to pull them forward, to help them break free from their inertia, but deep down, they don't want to move. And the cruelest part? Somehow they make you feel guilty, as if you're the problem for expecting too much, for wanting them to mature, for refusing to live in their eternal almost. But let's be clear, this man, the one you know, is trapped in a fantasy of freedom that in practice is a prison of fear and immaturity. If he doesn't wake up, he'll grow old without ever having truly lived. This isn't an attack, it's a mirror. And if you're reading this, it's because something inside you recognizes this pattern. Maybe it's in someone close to you. Maybe, if you're honest, it's in yourself. The journey of the pure etterness doesn't have to end in stagnation. But change only comes when the truth is faced head-on. Let's dive into that truth now. The pure etterness, a deeper archetype. The pure etterness is not just a personality quirk or a phase someone outgrows. It's a deep archetype, a psychic force that operates in the unconscious of countless men, often mistaken for charisma, spontaneity, or a free spirit. But beneath this light, carefree exterior lies something far more serious, an almost instinctive refusal to grow up. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist who pioneered the study of archetypes, observed this pattern in his patients and in myths across cultures and history. The pure is the eternal youth, the figure who refuses to leave the paradise of childhood. What Jung called the psychic womb of the mother, a place where everything is provided, protected, and resolved. He clings to the promise of a glorious tomorrow, a future where his brilliance will finally be recognized. But that tomorrow never arrives. This archetype manifests as the eternal son of the gods, the chosen one, the special one destined for greatness. But in practice, he never takes charge of his own life. You've seen this up close. Men who leap from job to job, always chasing something more meaningful, but never staying long enough to build anything substantial. Men who start projects with infectious enthusiasm, a novel, a startup, a band, only to abandon them at the first sign of difficulty. Men who fall in love with intensity, promising the world to their partner, only to vanish when the relationship demands maturity, compromise, or effort. They talk endlessly about spirituality, self-discovery, and freedom, yet they can't pay a bill on time, keep a promise, or maintain a commitment for more than a few months. And it's not because they lack intelligence or talent. On the contrary, the pure is often brilliant, sensitive, and brimming with potential. He has a vivid connection to creativity, inspiration, and imagination, a spark that makes him magnetic. But that spark is also his downfall, because it keeps him tethered to the world of ideas, where he can soar without ever having to touch the ground. The pure wants to fly without building wings. He wants love without commitment, success without effort, the rewards of adulthood without paying the price of maturity. And when the world doesn't deliver his idealized vision, he revolts. He blames the system for stifling his creativity. He blames his parents for not understanding his genius. He blames life itself for being unfair. But the one person he never blames is himself. Jung described this as a disconnection from time, a refusal to live in the now. The pure is always in a not yet, waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect idea, the perfect partner, the perfect phase of life. He lives in the when, never in the today. And because of this, he doesn't truly live. He survives, sustained by dreams that, over time, become heavy burdens. But there's another side to this story, one that makes the pure so compelling. Despite his immaturity, he carries a force that cannot be dismissed. He is the source of inner youth, of creative imagination, of the ability to reinvent life itself. The problem isn't the boy within the man, it's when that boy takes complete control of his existence. To understand this archetype fully, we need to explore what happens when the shine of the pure begins to darken, when the shadow takes over. Let's dive into the dark side of the eternal boy and how it silently destroys everything around him. The magnetic illusion and its hidden trap. There's something undeniably magnetic about the man dominated by the pure etterness. He's light, spontaneous, untethered. He speaks like a poet, his words weaving visions of a world unbound by convention. He dreams like a visionary, painting pictures of a future where he's the hero of his own epic. He lives as if time doesn't apply to him, as if the rules that govern the rest of us are mere suggestions. For many, this is intoxicating. In a world suffocated by obligations, deadlines, and soul-crushing routines, the pure seems like a breath of fresh air. He embodies freedom, or at least what we imagine freedom to be. Who hasn't longed to break free from the grind, to live without labels, to chase dreams without the weight of responsibility? The pure seems to have cracked the code, living a life unburdened by the chains that bind the rest of us. But here's the trap. This freedom is an illusion. It's a carefully crafted disguise that hides what the pure fears most: reality itself. He's not free. He's a fugitive, running from pain, failure, rejection, frustration, and the relentless march of time. Every choice he avoids, every decision he postpones, every responsibility he shirks deepens the prison he's built for himself, a prison he mistakes for autonomy. You've seen this in action. He says he doesn't want a conventional job because He was born for something greater, but the truth is, he's terrified of routine, hierarchy, and the commitment it demands. He claims relationships are prisons, that he's too free-spirited to be tied down. But in reality, he's petrified of vulnerability, of being truly seen, of being held accountable. He rails against rules, proclaiming they stifle his soul. But deep down, he simply doesn't know how to navigate limits. The freedom he sells to others, and to himself, is a childish refusal to face life's harsh realities. He wants to remain eternal, light, unblemished, like a balloon drifting aimlessly in the wind. But time doesn't wait. The real world, with its demands and consequences, always catches up. Carl Jung described the pure eterness as living in a state of suspension, floating between heaven and earth, unwilling to descend, to root himself, to deal with the concrete. But without roots, nothing grows. Without effort, nothing flourishes. And without pain, there is no transformation. True freedom isn't the absence of limits. It's the courage to choose what deserves your commitment, to build something lasting. In a world that's fleeting, the pure, however, doesn't choose. He escapes. And in his escape, he doesn't just sabotage his own life. He slowly erodes the lives of those who try to love him, to support him, to believe in him. The shadow of the eternal boy. At first, the pure eterness is enchanting. His energy is infectious, his enthusiasm contagious, his unpredictability thrilling. He sweeps you into his world of possibilities, where every moment feels alive with potential. But over time, that shine begins to fade. The lightness you once admired transforms into absence. The sensitivity that drew you in becomes emotional instability. The freedom you envied reveals itself as nothing more than escape. This is where the shadow of the pure emerges, subtle but insidious, manifesting in small daily acts of sabotage. He forgets commitments, letting promises slip through his fingers like sand. He misses deadlines, always with a poetic excuse. I'm not ready. I don't want to force it. I need more time. He's financially disorganized, bouncing from one crisis to another, yet somehow always finding someone else to bail him out. He changes his mind abruptly, abandoning plans as quickly as he made them. And worst of all, he breaks promises not out of malice, but out of fear. Fear of growing up, of making mistakes, of being judged, of being ordinary. This self-sabotage doesn't just harm him, it ripples outward, wounding everyone around him. Romantic partners bear the brunt of it, caught in the anguish of loving. A man who seems incredible in essence, but absent in practice. He declares his love with grand gestures, but when it's time to show up, to plan a future, to build something real, he vanishes. He says he wants a life together, but he never takes the steps to make it happen. Family members watch in frustration as he squanders his talent, intelligence, and opportunities, chasing one fleeting dream after another. Friends grow weary of offering support to someone who seems stuck in a cycle of almost always on the verge of something great, but never crossing the finish line. And behind it all is a suffocating sense of stagnation, as if he's trapped in an endless emotional adolescence, unable to move forward. The shadow of the pure feeds on the unconscious. He doesn't see the destruction he's causing, and worse, he believes others are the problem. He accuses the world of being too rigid, too boring, too controlling. He views those who have embraced maturity as sellouts, traitors to the cause of freedom. And so, he isolates himself, retreating further into his fantasy of being true to his essence, when in reality, he's enslaved by fear. Jung taught that we don't find enlightenment by chasing visions of light, but by confronting the darkness within. The shadow of the pure isn't something to deny or ignore, it must be faced head-on. The problem isn't the child within the man. It's when that child becomes a tyrant, sabotaging any chance at a full, meaningful life. The role of the archetypal mother, the pure eterness, doesn't exist in a vacuum. Behind almost every man who refuses to grow up stands a silent figure, sometimes loving, sometimes suffocating, who shields him from the world while preventing him from facing it. In Jung's analytical psychology, this figure is the archetypal mother, and when her influence becomes excessive, she transforms into the devouring great mother, the one who traps instead of nurtures. This mother can be literal, an overprotective parent who did everything for her son, shielding him from mistakes, cushioning every fall, and unknowingly stunting his ability to develop autonomy. Or she can be symbolic, a partner who takes on the role of caregiver, a grandmother who indulges without limits, or any feminine figure who protects, nurtures, and embraces, but demands eternal loyalty in return. The pure becomes a man who seeks, not a partner, but a substitute mother in the feminine world. He craves someone who understands him without challenging him, who accepts him without demanding growth, who supports him without setting boundaries. This symbiotic relationship is comfortable, even seductive, but it's profoundly destructive. As long as he's cared for, he doesn't need to act, decide, or grow. He remains in a state of eternal emotional childhood, waiting for the women in his life to resolve what he refuses to face, the call to adulthood. And the symbolic mother is often complicit, believing she's helping, loving, or saving him, when in reality, she's perpetuating a cycle of dependency that drains both their vitality. Jung was unequivocal. The greatest tragedy occurs when the mother refuses to let the child be born psychologically. Even as the body ages, the psyche remains immature, perpetually seeking comfort instead of grounding. This dynamic becomes especially toxic in relationships. The pure falls in love quickly, idealizing his partner as the one who will fill all his inner voids. But as soon as the relationship demands depth, commitment, or responsibility, he bolts. He distances himself, sabotages the connection, or worse, blames his partner for failing to meet his unrealistic expectations. Deep down, he never wanted a partner. He wanted a mother disguised as a lover. The path to transformation, breaking free from the pure etterness, requires pain, separation, and the courage to cut the psychic cord. It's a process Jung called individuation, the journey to becoming truly oneself. This isn't a gentle process. Jung likened it to a psychic birth, complete with pain, blood, and symbolic death. The first step is confronting the collapse of fantasy. It's realizing that life won't wait for you to be ready, that there's no perfect moment, no savior coming to rescue you. The real world isn't a hostile place, it's the only stage where something true can happen. Growing up doesn't mean betraying your essence. It means building it. This journey demands mourning. Mourning the idealized boy within, the imagined life that never materialized, the promises that were never fulfilled, and above all, the symbolic mother who kept you tethered. Letting go of the pure doesn't mean killing your creativity, your lightness, or your dreams. It means refusing to let them be excuses for avoiding life. It's allowing the boy to exist, but under the leadership of the man. Maturity is about construction, building structure, consistency, and resilience. It's saying no when escape feels easier, committing even when freedom beckons, working diligently even when inspiration wanes, and staying present in relationships even when the initial spark fades. It's trading the fleeting thrill of the new for the transformative power of continuity. When the pure is integrated into the adult man, he doesn't vanish, he transforms. He becomes a source of creativity, vision, and intuition, now channeled through a mature psyche capable of acting in the world. This is true rebirth, when the eternal boy stops running from reality and starts building with it. But this process isn't easy, and it doesn't happen by accident. Many men reach this point feeling lost, exhausted, unsure of where to begin. They know the time for psychic childhood is over, but they don't know how to take the reins of their life. That's why this conversation matters. It's for those standing at the crossroads, ready to change but unsure of the first step. The call to action if you've read this far. Something inside you recognizes the urgency of this message. Maybe you see the pure etterness in someone close, a friend, a partner, a family member. Maybe you see it in yourself, and there's no shame in that. None. We all carry the temptation to remain children in a world that demands maturity. We've all dodged responsibilities, dreamed of shortcuts, or hoped for comfort before we were ready to earn it. But the truth is stark. Life doesn't wait. It demands, it tests, and sooner or later, you'll face a choice to stay trapped in a world of promises or to cross the bridge to fulfillment. That crossing requires courage, the courage to grow, not when you feel ready, but when you decide it's time to stop running. Jung warned that those who don't confront their demons will meet them at every turn. The pure etterness is one such demon, hiding behind the guise of freedom, authenticity, or misunderstood genius. But in practice, it corrodes your roots, preventing anything solid from taking hold. It won't vanish on its own. You must face it, acknowledge it, integrate it, and choose to rise above it. Maturity is born when you stop waiting for salvation and start saving yourself. When you realize responsibility isn't a cage but a path to power. When you understand that true freedom isn't doing whatever you want, it's having the inner strength to choose what matters not. So, what struck you most about this? Where do you see the pure etterness in your life or the lives of those around you? Take a moment to reflect, to write it down, to give shape to what you feel. Sometimes, that's the first step toward change. And if this resonates, share it with someone who needs to hear it, someone caught in the same cycle, perhaps without even knowing it. The journey doesn't end here. There's more to uncover, more to understand, more to build. Keep going. It may hurt, but it will set you free. And in the end, that's what matters, real hard-earned freedom.